sometimes it feels like there's never enough time during the day, especially if you work full-time or you have littles at home or you're currently solo parenting. It can feel like every hour of the day is spoken for. And while you would absolutely love to find time for yourself or to actually start that business or pursue that goal, it just never seems to happen. I totally get this because I've been there, and sometimes I still find myself there because, let's be honest, life rarely goes according to plan. But when I think back to all of the things that I have learned in the last 6 years of working from home and navigating military life, there are 6 time management hacks that have been really helpful to me, to my life as a purpose-fueled military spouse that I think are really going to help you in your journey. Want to know what they are? Well, then let's dive into the show. You, my friend, were made for more. More than the managing of schedules, keeping up with kiddos, and holding down the home front. Welcome to the MilSpouse Mastermind Show, the podcast that empowers you to get unstuck and craft a life with more meaning and less overwhelm. I'm your host, Christine, seasoned military spouse, mom of 3, and your guide to designing a life you love and growing a purpose-fueled business as a military spouse. I believe you have something valuable to offer, and when you pursue the things that light your heart on fire, you trade frustration for fulfillment and isolation for a life of impact. It's time to discover who you are meant to be, because together we can change the world. Okay, friends, I'm really excited to let you know that in just a couple weeks, I'm going to be doing a week-long series on the podcast. This is going to allow us to go into much greater depth in talking about why we feel unfulfilled as military spouses and what to do about it. I'm calling it the More Than a MilSpouse series, and each day we're going to unpack one piece of the puzzle so that you can get unstuck and really start crafting a life with purpose as a military spouse today. So we're going to go into the nitty-gritty, and hopefully I'll give you some really practical tools that you can use on your journey. But I just want to let you know that that is coming. I am super excited for it and for our conversation together. But today we are talking about time management hacks. And I know so many times I hear, well, I didn't have time to do the thing. I can't find the time. I can't seem to make this happen. And so when I zoom out and I think about the time management strategies, and let me say right here, this is not about cramming more into your schedule. This is not about hustling harder. It's about being the most efficient you can with your time you have, the things you have to do so that you can show up for your life, so that you can live with purpose and not feel like you are just in a hamster wheel that you can't get out of. I want you to be able to live life to the fullest and to enjoy what you have. And sometimes we need some tips and tricks to make that happen. All of us are busy. My life is crazy busy. Sometimes all the things on my plate just leave me spinning. And it's really these hacks that have helped me do what I've done, to make the progress that I've made, to show up and create the life that I have. So I just want to unpack some of these hacks because I think one or more of them is going to be something that will really benefit you in your life and your ability to find time to do whatever it is that you have in your life. And the first hack that I think, this is the starting point that has really made such a huge difference in my life, and that is my morning routine. Because when I don't get up until my kids get up, my morning, my schedule, the way I show up for my day is just different. I need time to get myself ready for the day. And I don't mean physically ready. I mean, I need to get my mental and emotional and spiritual self ready for the day. When I talk about self-care, so much of this goes back to the time that I am spending on my mind and on my heart before my kids get up. I have an episode that I did early in the archives of the show. If you go all the way back to episode 22, that is all about creating a morning routine. What my morning routine looks like has changed over the years. I've done many different things into my morning routine, but the consistent thing is that I am showing up for myself and I'm preparing my mind and my heart before I am engaging in the activities of the day. This is the time when I say, okay, what is coming up today? What do I need to be focused on? What are my priorities? What am I praying for? All the things that happens during my morning routine time. So if you are struggling to manage all the things, I highly recommend just setting your alarm for just a few minutes earlier. I may even end up doing another episode just on morning routine because it's been a while and my routine has shifted a lot and what I'm doing during that time has shifted a lot. But starting point is to have that time before you are engaged in the activities of the day, to really set your intentions, to set your focus, and to be able to jump into the day from a place of peace and rest. The second thing that has been really helpful in my life is just to be able to prioritize all of the tasks that you have. And this is one of the things I do during my morning routine time is that I look at what is coming up during the day. What are the activities? What are the things I need to do? And to specify what my top priorities are for the day. If I have 10 things that need to get done and I'm not going to be able to fit all 10 things in, what are the top 2 to 3 things that really need to be done that day? And as long as those things are getting done every day, then everything else is going to fall into place. But if we're trying to just go down the list, do all the things, we are most likely going to start with the thing that is easiest for us to do or the thing that we want to do rather than doing the things that need to get done that day. So we've got to be able to prioritize what are the most important tasks that need to be done today. Get those done first, and then you can focus on everything else. The third piece of the puzzle is really having a schedule. I was very resistant to this at first. When I first started working from home, I didn't like having a schedule because when you work in an office, you go to the office, you do your work, you come home, and it's kind of nice. But when you work for yourself or you work from home, it's a much different experience, especially if you have kids. And so the only thing that worked for me was to start setting a schedule, to get everybody into a schedule and a routine, which went against what I love to do as a 20-something when I could just kind of do whatever popped up in my day and kind of go with the flow. I needed to create those routines and those schedules so that we could do all the things that mattered to us as a family. And part of that is time blocking and knowing when I'm going to get my work blocks in, when I'm going to be picking up kids, when I'm going to be focused on my kids, when I'm going to be cleaning the house, when I'm going to be prepping the food. All of these things, they all have to have a place in your weekly schedule. And so if your schedule looks the same each and every week, you may be able to set a schedule and just run with it and just adjust and tweak as needed. Right now, I'm in the space where my schedule changes on almost a weekly basis. So once a week, at the beginning of the week, I sit down and say, okay, what are all the things that need to happen this week? And then I make a schedule for the week. I actually plan it out and say, okay, on this day, this is happening. On this day, I'm devoting 4 hours to this project. And I'm going to get my cleaning block of time done on Thursday this week, and on Saturday we're going to be going and getting the groceries because that's the only time we can fit it in. But it all comes down to having a schedule and figuring out what that looks like for your family. But if you don't have a schedule and a routine, it's really hard to make things happen. So if you are struggling in that place of, I just can't find time, set a schedule and you'll start to see how you spend your time, what you're spending your time on, and what needs to shift so that you have the time for the things that matter most to you. The fourth tip, and I think we've seen a big shift in people talking about this in the last several years, because when several years ago, people were all about multitasking and how you could get so many different things done at the same time. And we like to say that we are all multitaskers because we will have evenings where we're sitting on the couch, we're folding laundry, we're watching TV, we're checking our phones, we're doing all these things. But brain science has shown us that we are not the most productive when we are multitasking. Multitasking can actually decrease our productivity and increase our likelihood of making mistakes. So if we can instead focus on one task at a time and give it our full attention, that's actually going to help us create better results in the long run. So I know that's a big shift for some of us that have grown up hearing that multitasking, you just need to be able to multitask, but it's really being able to focus on one project, get it done, and do it well. The fifth tip is to eliminate distractions because it is so easy to get distracted. How many times do I know I need to do a project? I'm not excited about the project, and so I pick up my phone to check my email or to scroll on social media or something else that is distracting me from doing the thing that I don't want to do, that I need to get done. And distractions can be so many different things. Sometimes it's not just you choosing the distraction. Your kids are a distraction because you're trying to keep them occupied while you're trying to get your work done. And there's just so many things that take our time and attention away from the thing that needs to get done. So to the extent possible, it's helpful when we can minimize distractions within our control. Things like social media, things like emails, all of the alerts on your phone, text messages, so that when you are engaged in a project, when you are trying to find time for that side hustle, that goal that you are working towards, to be able to block out all of the things that are going to keep you from doing the things that you need to do is going to be so helpful to you. It's been so helpful to me when I can turn on focus mode so that I'm not being distracted by everything. There are even seasons where it may be necessary to delete social media apps from your phone so that you're not distracted, because I mean, you know this, I know this. When we get into social media, we go in to find that one piece of information or reply to that one person, and all of a sudden we've lost the last 20 minutes scrolling through our feed. It is so easy to get distracted, and we have to intentionally work to minimize distractions. The sixth tip that has been really helpful to me, especially when it comes to avoiding distractions, is to use a timer. Now, I don't do this as much as I should, but when I do, I am so much more productive. It helps me stay on track and manage my time more efficiently. So I know if I'm working on a specific task, I have to set a timer and say, you have 30 minutes for this task, and then take a break when the timer goes off or go on to the next thing. Because sometimes I can spend an hour working on something when I only have 30 minutes to do it. Or I can get into one project and then I get reminded of something else, or I start daydreaming, or all these other things, and using a timer just does a much better job of keeping me focused on what I'm supposed to be doing at that time. Now, those are my 6 tips to help you manage your time more effectively. Now, I want to say I have a bonus tip because I think this is the foundation for it all. If we are not taking time for rest, and specifically, if we are not getting enough sleep, we're not going to be able to function at our best. We're not going to be able to make decisions well. If we do not get enough sleep, that can actually decrease our productivity. It can increase our stress. It can negatively impact our overall health and well-being. I did an episode just a couple episodes ago. I will link that below in the show notes where I talked with sleep expert Renee Kindler about getting enough sleep and specifically what that looks like for military families. So if you have a spouse who is deployed, if you are solo parenting, if you have a spouse that works on a shift schedule and you're trying to figure out, even if you have littles at home, all of these things that are a part of our lives as military families that can impact our sleep negatively, we talk through strategies to deal with that. So if you know you're in a place where you're not getting enough sleep, go back, listen to that episode. I will have it linked in the show notes, but it is so important to make sure we are getting enough sleep. But these 6 tips are going to help you be more efficient and more productive with your time. Number 1, having a morning routine and planning out your day. Number 2, prioritizing your task in order of importance. Number 3, setting a schedule. Number 4, avoiding multitasking as much as possible. Number 5, eliminating distractions. And number 6, using a timer. I hope these tips really help you as you seek to create the time and space you need for the things that matter to you. Whether you just need time to make sure that you get your workout done, or you need to make time to create that side hustle, to launch that project, to write that book, to start that hobby, whatever it is that is on your heart, you need time to make that happen, and these tips will help you do that. I cannot wait to hear which tip meant the most to you. If you are not already a part of our free community on Facebook, I would love to have you join us in there. Just go to milspousemastermind.com/community, and that will take you to the link to join the group. Come introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, what you do, because we would love to connect with you there. All right, friends, have an amazing week. I will see you back here next week. And until then, may you live filled, fueled, and full of joy. Hey friend, before you go, the MilSpouse Mastermind community is here to help you thrive as a military spouse. Figure out what lights your heart on fire and equip you to create a life of impact. You can have an incredible impact simply by heading over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. And if today's episode was meaningful to you, I know it will be for others too. Spread the word by taking a screenshot of this episode and share it to your stories so we can continue to reach more people, change more lives, and shift the way that military spouses look at life. Because we are better together, and together we can change the world. Let's do it.